I'm here with creative goddess Vicki Odell, and Vicki's got a great way to take your photos out of your scrapbook and put them up on your wall, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing this beautiful hoop, and I'm guessing, is this someone who's related to you?
These are my in-laws.
Very cool, and a nice way to put that beautiful wedding photo right up on the wall. So what do we do to get started?
First of all, we have an 8-inch embroidery hoop, and then we have printed the photo out on printable linen.
That is cool.
It is really cool. It doesn't have an adhesive on the back, it's just paper, and that helps it go through the printer.
Okay.
So to get it to adhere to our hoop, we're gonna have to glue it.
Okay.
Okay? So to start, we're going to mat the photo, and I've chosen this really cool, intricate gold placemat.
Ooh.
Partly because I like the texture and the laciness that it adds to the matting that we're going to do, but also because I kind of think that maybe a placemat like this was used at a wedding like that in the 50s.
That's a nice idea. It's almost like imagining ephemera.
Right, yes. So when you create matting for your photos, it doesn't have to be just a plain square that outlines all of the photo. It can be made of more than one material and be layered.
Oh,
like
I like
this.
that. So you've taken the placemat, I can see, as long with some textured paper, and it does create a mat, and yet it's not even, it's not perfect, it's not all the same color, but it does exactly what a mat is meant to do, which is to separate it from its background, right?
We're just really not taking this too seriously. After all, it is a wedding photo in an embroidery hoop, so
it's true.
We can't get too fussy with it.
So how are we going to adhere it all together?
So to adhere it all together, I use the low temp glue.
Great, and I was actually thinking we have a couple glue guns set up here, and I know you're using low temp, but these glue guns actually have a little switch, and you can choose whether to do high temp, which is the 1, or low temp, which is the 2, and of course this one's on high, that one's on low. We're sort of multitasking with the glue guns.
Right, and when you're doing something that's lacy and delicate, like this placemat, you can use the little finger caps.
Oh, that's perfect for any glue that might come up.
Yeah.
That's a smart idea. And I know we also even have a cordless glue gun here, which I think is a great idea. And it just has an easy on and off switch, so you know when it's on and when it's off. And that way you can go roaming with your glue gun anywhere you want. You know, I've always thought my mother was never a sewer. I think she was more of a glue the hem of your pants up if there's a problem kind of person.
When I first met my husband, I found a pair of pants in his closet that were hemmed with duct tape.
I think actually hot glue would work a little bit better, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I see that you have the photo down on there.
Right.
And what are we going to do after that?
Then I have a few little lace doilies from the craft store, and we're just going to add those. And we're going to use these and kind of break the frame of the embroidery hoop just to give it a little more interest.
So it seems like everything's coming out of the embroidery frame instead of being trapped in there.
Right. I guess if you wanted to do it a different way, you could turn the embroidery hoop over and decorate inside.
Oh, I love that idea. Almost like a shadow box,
Yes.
but in the round.
Right.
That's really clever.
So, and again, you might want to use the finger cap for these little lacy bits. And then we're just going to glue on another lighter flower embellishment. This makes me think of a wedding dress.
It totally does.
And then a couple of buttons.
So you can still use the low temp for the buttons, or do you actually need a high temp for that?
You could use either or.
Oh, okay.
So because it's fabric, the glue kind of adheres to the fibers, so then it kind of sticks. So you really could use probably either or.
Okay. Well, why don't we switch to the high just for a second so people can see what that looks like. And are these buttons that you bought, that you collected, are they vintage from somewhere?
I have some of both.
Oh.
These I have purchased, and I kind of keep them handy for when I make cards and scrapbooks and other little mixed media embellishments. Also, if you get a button that has kind of a longer shank on it, you can use a pair of heavy-duty scissors to cut it off.
Oh, that's a great tip. And I always think that, you know, the nice thing about working with fabric is even if it has that big shank, it just sort of sinks right down into the fabric.
Especially with these doilies, because it can kind of go in between some of the crocheted area.
So I want to make sure that I have this right, Vicki. Anything that's sort of heavier or non-porous, you want to use a high temp gun, and anything that's sort of paper or lighter, you want to use a low temp.
Or the items that are lacy, where the glue might seep through a little bit, a low temp would be nice.
That's great. And I know that you brought another sample here, which actually has a totally different feel, even though it's the exact same techniques, right?
Yeah. This is a photo of my grandmother, and they're having some sort of family reunion or outdoor picnic. And I love that she's kind of looking at the camera, and everyone else is just sort of having a good time.
And is this fabric that you painted, or how did you get that color?
That is a fat quarter from the fabric store.
Oh, so it's just a regular commercial pretty fabric, and you can
Right.
pop it in there, and it's such a different look, because even though so many of the accents here are the similar whites and other stuff that we used in this first hoop, just by adding that pink flower and that colorful background, it adds so much.
Right.
This is a great idea, Vicki. Thank you
Thanks.
so much.